So the Biden administration just rolled out their plans to reduce firearm suicides, and their whole plan essentially is to just blame the guns. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think the federal government needs to stop infringing on our Second Amendment rights, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to thank everybody who has liked, commented, subscribed over the last couple of years because we just reached over 200,000 subscribers here on this channel. So upfront, I wanted to thank everybody for supporting this channel, supporting what I do. And also I wanted to give a little bit of a PSA that tomorrow, November 3rd at 7 o'clock, I will be live streaming the Supreme Court oral arguments on the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin case, which we have all been anticipating. So keep an eye out on my channel. I already have the links up for it. So I will start tomorrow morning. I'll probably start a little bit earlier than that 7 o'clock, and that's going to be Pacific time, 7 o'clock Pacific time if you want to watch those oral arguments live with me. Also, I want to let you know that this content is powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. So head on over to joinfpc.org to help support the Second Amendment cause. Thank you again, Firearms Policy Coalition, for supporting this channel. So like I said in the intro, the Biden administration just issued a press release this morning, and it was on their plans to reduce the use of firearms in suicides. This press release has 3 main sections, and they amount to essentially pointing the finger at military veterans, guns themselves, and then gun stores. In each of these 3 sections, the Biden administration outlines what they believe will be a solution to these issues. And then at the very end, they also say, oh, hey, by the way, Congress, you should pass the national red flag law that is currently working its way through the House. So I'm going to read to you guys the press release and explain all of their plans and what it all entails. So the press release starts off by saying, firearms are the most common method of suicide in the United States, accounting for 2/3 of all firearms deaths. Before deciding whether to keep a firearm in their home, families should know that having access to a gun triples one's risk of death by suicide. If they choose to purchase a firearm, responsible gun owners should safely store their firearms to prevent individuals who could be a danger to themselves or others from using the weapon. Additionally, firearms dealers have a responsibility to take common sense steps to keep their customers and communities safe. Today, the Biden administration is announcing 3 new actions that will help to prevent suicide, including by promoting safe firearm storage and classifying best practices for firearms dealers. Studies have shown that reducing access to lethal means, including firearms and medications, particularly in times of crisis, can save lives. So that's the first section of the press release. And to start off there, talking about their viewpoint about firearms and its relation to suicides and deaths. And they're saying that this is their viewpoint and they want to resolve this. However, the interesting thing they glaze over in that last paragraph that you likely heard is that many of these studies that they are pointing to indicate more that it may be a combination of maybe access to firearms and also someone being on medication that may put you at a higher risk to committing suicide with a firearm. The press release then goes on to talk about the Biden administration and their 3 plans of action to resolve this so-called issue that they're pointing to. They first talk about veterans. So this section states, the Biden administration's comprehensive military and veteran suicide prevention strategy, released today, announces an unprecedented federal focus on improving lethal means safety as a tool to save lives. The DoD, the HHS, the DHS, the DOJ, the VA, as well as the DOT will jointly create a plan for addressing lethal means safety awareness, education, training, and program evaluation. The agencies will work together to identify, develop, and test any tailored messaging, and they will base their activities on expert guidance. So in this section, the Biden administration says that it will be putting more money into public health announcements, social media paid promotions and announcements, and also they will put together these maps and storage facilities where gun owners can store firearms outside of their homes if they so desire. For me, the more concerning aspect of this part is the increased use of social media, other media sources to push this anti-gun agenda. The next section is titled Making It Easier for Customers to Obtain Secure Gun Storage or Safety Devices. And this section states, in 2016, the ATF proposed a rule clarifying firearms dealers' statutory obligations to make available for purchase compatible secure gun storage or safety devices. The Department of Justice plans to soon finalize a rule on this topic, including responding to public comments. So this section talks about the ATF's clarification on these types of gun storage and safety devices. essentially that firearms dealers must make available these types of storage devices or locks or whatever available to customers. And actually they're going to be issuing an actual rule from the ATF on this issue, on this effect, that they have to actually make these all available to people. The next section is titled Promoting Best Practices for Federal Firearms Dealers, including customer education regarding safety and security for firearms owners. So I know that's a mouthful, but this section states that the ATF will issue a best practice guide to all federal firearms dealers to remind them about the important steps they are legally required to take and additional steps they are encouraged to take to keep their customers and communities safe. Now, this guide that they're going to provide to these gun stores include materials for the FFLs to distribute to customers to help them better understand their legal obligations as firearms owners, as well as practical steps they can take to facilitate the safe storage of firearms and keep firearms out of the hands of people prohibited from possessing firearms. So expect some sort of government propaganda papers to reach your hands whenever you purchase a firearm, because essentially what's going to happen is through this new plan, they're going to provide these papers to the FFLs to then give to you every time you purchase firearms. And it's the federal government telling you, hey, these are your obligations. You need to do X, Y, and Z. If not, you will become legally liable for X, Y, Z. So beyond that, this section also says that there will be a summary of the DOJ's zero tolerance approach to willful violations of the Gun Control Act and implementing regulations that put public safety at risk. This whole section here is the DOJ and the ATF saying that they will be very strict going forward and take any opportunity to revoke an FFL's license if they meet or violate any of these guidelines. The next section talks about that they will also be sending a reminder to all the FFLs of their obligations to run background checks on firearms transfers, and also that it is unlawful or illegal for them to sell firearms to a prohibited person, which all these FFLs already know. But these anti-gunners try to act as if illegal firearms are obtained primarily from gun stores, not running background checks or selling to prohibited people, when in reality, that's not how a vast majority of criminals out on the streets are coming into possession of these illegal firearms. They're not going into gun stores. There's not this epidemic of gun stores not running background checks or selling to prohibited persons. That's just not what's happening, and that's not how these guns are getting on the streets, but that's how the Biden administration wants to frame this issue. They go on to further clarify in this gun store focus of this press release that they will include recommendations on how to implement safety and security measures, including how to store the firearms inventory, use alarms, video surveillance. And again, this is all focusing on, in their eyes, that all these guns illegally out on the streets are coming from gun stores when we know they just aren't. So again, they're trying to put a band-aid on something that's really not even the issue. The press release closes out by pushing for the national red flag law. It states these actions build on the Biden administration's previous gun violence prevention actions. Earlier this year, the Justice Department issued Model Extreme Risk Protection Order legislation for states. Extreme Risk Protection Order laws are another strategy for reducing access to lethal means, allowing family members or law enforcement to petition for a court order temporarily barring people in crisis from accessing firearms if they present a danger to themselves or others. The president continues to urge Congress to pass an appropriate national red flag law, as well as legislation incentivizing states to pass their own version of these laws. So this language should be very concerning to you, especially in light of HR 2377, the Federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Act, which recently passed the House Judiciary Committee vote. And that was last week. It passed that committee vote, and now we'll be moving towards a House vote. So there's already this red flag, this national red flag law that's in the House, that's working its way through the House. And here you have the Biden administration doubling down, saying that Congress should pass this, that other states should adopt these types of laws, and essentially should adopt these red flag laws that violate not only your Second Amendment rights, but also your due process rights. But let me know down in the details section if you guys think any of these proposed actions will actually resolve any of these issues. Also, again, I just want to remind you that tomorrow, November 3rd, I will be having that live stream of the Supreme Court oral argument. So there will be links on the channel for you guys to listen and kind of engage with that live with me. I will leave those videos up also after the fact if you guys want to watch that. And then I will likely be doing a shorter kind of summarized follow-up video as well. But if you guys want to watch live with me and the rest of the community, there will be a link, and that will start at 7 o'clock Pacific time. And I might actually jump on a little bit earlier because about 7 o'clock is when the arguments should actually start. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Al Gore's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jet and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos, in this type of two-way news, and then it helps push it to more people. So thank you so much to everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed, who's hit the notification bell. You guys have all helped me reach that 200,000 subscriber goal, which I thought was impossible, but you guys helped me reach that. And now we're moving towards 300,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for all your support. And if you don't have a comment in mind, just comment down below that you're commenting to fuel the algorithm, and that does help this channel. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget that Station was built by arm scholars and Station will be maintained by arm scholars.